What?
Just click the button.
Sure. Yeah. I can.
Don't
I can.
understand what you mean.
He wants to talk again.
No, you don't need to talk again. I'm just. You don't have to go through that entire conversation again because it's one of those spur of the moment sort of conversations. I'm just regretting that I didn't push the button like 3 or 4 minutes ago. Hi, everybody, by the way, for anybody who's joining us in the live chat. Yeah.
I can't see you, Adrian. You can only hear you right now.
Me?
We can see you.
Okay.
I can see you.
We can see you. We can hear you.
Okay.
Just the viewers can't yet.
They can only hear you. But anyway, as I was saying, there you go. Oh ho ho, da da da, on air.
Yeah,
It's like-
see, this is all they're getting. So
Okay.
they're not seeing your Paul Bunyan-ness that you're serving right now. So
Paul Bunyan realness. But what was I going? Oh,
That sounded like a cheer.
it probably was.
Paul
You know.
Bunyan, realness.
Yeah, but like I said, I saw pictures and stuff, so I know that it was relatively popular. It didn't rain, so that's the good thing.
for like the first time in I don't know how long.
I know, right? So I'm sure people enjoyed that. I saw several people taking pictures from the faux Eiffel Tower, and yeah, it was. I mean, what it looked like from what I saw, people had a good time. So good.
Good.
I just was not one of those people. I set my silly ass down at home and saved money for my trip to Vegas in October.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to Vegas. I'm going to Minnesota. I think I got it better. Oh, wait a minute. I'm there for my sister's wedding to some Republican douche.
When are you going to Vegas?
October 13th through the 17th.
Oh. Because, like Western Exposure is going on during that time. It's right not far away. I'm pretty sure. I'm going to double check those dates, but I'm pretty sure.
Is it Jim going with you to Vegas?
Yes, Jim is going with me, and we have another couple that is going with us as well.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, sweetie.
Wait, what?
He said, yes, I'm going with you.
I was just clarifying because I thought when you talked about Vegas before, in past years for your birthday, you have taken solo trips to the West Coast.
Correct.
But this year is different, so.
Yeah,
Well,
this will be
he's not going to the West Coast. He's going to the West Desert.
Whatever.
It might as
Anyway,
well be the West Coast compared to where we live, so.
I'm going to the Western states. We'll keep it like that. Yeah. But yes, typically in the past I have taken a trip on my own somewhere. Not always the West Coast, but somewhere. But this year, one of our friends and his fiance, we're like, we want to celebrate his birthday, so we're gonna kind of celebrate both. It's gonna be early for me, but his birthday will be the day we fly out. So yeah, so just we thought we'd combine birthdays and have a fun little trip, and all of us go and experience Vegas and all that fun stuff. So yeah, should be a good time.
My favorite part today was the chatting with Hadrian before the show. He direct messaged me, hi, and I'm like, oh, I'm just up. Okay, add Hadrian to the conversation. And then I go, hi, right back. And then he goes, ASL? And to be fair, my first thought was, what are we doing American Sign Language for? And then like, oh! And so I go, 39/M/ATX. And then, of course, I do the letter U. And then I forgot to put the question mark. So on the second line, I put a question mark. Then he responds with 40/M/LA. And then corrects himself. He says, 18/boy/SF. Swimmer's build, brah.
Oh
Now,
my
here's the
God.
thing is, back in the day,
Yep.
they didn't use the word bra.
Yeah, that's true. I forget how recent that is.
That's a more common. That's a nowadays thing. So it was a mixed retro.
Well, it's also problematic because I'm like, so there's a big age range change, like from 18 to 40. So unless you're going to be on one side of like some divider with a hole in between the two of you, they're not really going to see you. Then you might be able to pull off the fantasy of 18.
Well, and the beard might like ruin some of that.
Or like cake up enough oil of Olay on my face, maybe. I know black don't crack, but white winkles.
Well, that's why you have low lighting. And the beard actually doesn't really throw it off all that much. Well, the beard doesn't really throw it off much. I mean, do you know how many 20-somethings I see walking around with a goddamn beard these days? And I'm like,
It's true.
How many 18-year-olds do you see around with the goddamn beard these
I'm
days?
like, how many of you are hetero flexible? Like, where are we? Can we talk about that? Because that's a thing. I'm like,
I have seen a few 18-year-olds, Jeff, believe it or not. The beard has become like this thing. Now, it may not be like a full, like it would not be like, say, Hadrian's, like, fabulousness there. But there would be some kind of a beard there, like a low, probably patchy, a little bit of scruff if they, shave a little bit,
Using mascara to fill it in.
Yeah.
Have you looked at some of our old videos with Hadrian and compared the Hadrian then to the Hadrian now? Hadrian used to be so clean cut, and nowadays he's the nice. He's changed styles. From the clean
I was going to
cut
say he has
goatee,
changed styles quite a bit.
and now he's got this huge bushy beard and just like mop head hair. It's a different type of kid.
And I don't have a double chin under here anymore, so it's the only thing keeping my.
You're also
down.
a lot skinnier.
I'm wearing baggy shirts and everything, so people can't tell.
No, I'm chubby. I swear.
Yeah, I swear.
Girl.
What was I going to say? Completely lost my train of thought now. So before we actually get into starting today's show and talking about it, since the three of y'all are here, I want to talk about the fact, because this could be a whole other show, but workplace fantasy distractions. So at my job, there is a new employee, young, cubbish, kind of like reddish blonde, possibly like ginger, light-skinned young gentleman who is as they say THICC. It's very distracting. And he showed up for training and I was like, who be that? And then I was like, stop staring.
You're
stop
like
staring. Stop staring.
Thank God I'm not the trainer right now.
Oh, exactly.
You'd be in the middle. You'd be too distracted for training.
I'm also very blessed that he didn't have to sit next to me, because that would have been more problematic.
Awkward.
So, but in the first week, repeatedly, I kept having the same fantasy about him over and over again in the workplace.
Does it always happen at the workplace?
Well, that's where I see him at.
I know. I'm just making sure.
So-
You're just putting the location and the visuals together.
Well, there's not many places in the workplace that we could,
Hey, Nani.
well, meet up, so to speak. But there's something about him, like his face is kind of cherubic. Like he has this look about him. I feel that he begs to be dominated.
Oh, girl. Hold on.
And your daddy instincts are kicking in? Is that what I'm hearing?
My slam him up against a bathroom wall and ravish him is the problem. Like,
So your daddy instincts are kicking in.
I'm like, yeah.
Yeah,
You-
that's good.
You've
Good.
been to Claw one too many times.
No. I think this has always been in Young Grasshopper.
Ooh.
Anyway.
Where's that shade van?
Yeah, I try to keep a policy of don't.
There it
don't
is.
tip your pen and company ink.
I know.
I've broken those rules a few times.
See,
I-
I got a job one time where before the job, it never happened after I got the job, but before the job, I had fucked this guy. He says, "Oh, hey." And then once I'm looking for work, and he says, "Hey, they're hiring at my work." And I got hired there. So I had already fucked my boss before it was even my boss.
Nice.
But
Oh, well.
after he became my boss, we didn't. So
You didn't do anything, and then when he wasn't your boss. Anyway, no. It's. Oh God.
So in other words, another LTAS where we talk about workplace fantasies. Is that what you're asking about here? This
No, I
is
wasn't
topic?
asking. I was just saying, I've had a real interaction with a young gentleman that I've imagined that he's kind of quiet and he whimpers and he,
Ooh.
For those of you that will never see the video of this, I just made Damon spit out his drink. I'm pretty sure he just
Almost.
Yes.
Almost. You
It was
almost made me spit it out.
It was an almost spit
Oh.
take. The thing
Oh
is,
my
no
God.
one will ever see the video of this. They'll only hear it.
That wasn't
Yeah.
intentional, Damon. I was just.
I know. I know. It's just- you're like, you make out a whimper. I'm just like,
No, seriously, because he has kind of a soft-spoken nature about him, so I have a feeling he, kind of reminds me of another young gingerish cub that I've actually been with, that tends to be quiet, but wants to be dominated, and has a thing for bigger daddy guys, and so yeah, and it's just like,
Are you getting some top instincts?
Yeah. It sounds like you want to whisper sweet nothings in his ear.
I just
brother.
realized this.
well, okay, so here's the thing about so let me ask you this. No, before,
Please
because now
do.
we're derailing and we're not getting into the show yet. So here's the thing that I have a question about. Are you considered a top if you don't use your penis?
I
Yes.
mean, from in the BDSM scene, you can be, for
Right.
sure. Like, if you want to dominate, then you're the top.
Right.
Yeah.
The reason
know,
why I
you-
ask is because if you decide to finger fuck somebody,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I've totally dominated people with my mouth. Like, I'm going to suck your cock, and you don't really have a lot of say here. You just manhandle them, and you get your consent and stuff. But then, you make them pleasurable.
Adrian,
Adrian.
just keep this. I just want to say this, and this will be kind of for the record. Adrian,
Yeah.
just realize that you have perpetual consent for me.
Okay.
Okay,
I don't know why
no matter
you keep
what.
reminding
I
him.
mean, I might
You're
if
acting
it's
like he forgets.
really a moment where I'm just not into it, I will say no. But in general, if I haven't just recently said no, it's a yes.
Roger
So
that.
just want to make sure that's clear.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we'll ever get to meet in person, but if we do,
Wow, it's there.
it's there.
Things are on
I'm
the
not
table.
really sure what just happened. Damon, did you have a hot flash? Is that what that was
I
about?
don't fuck did. I didn't need to hear that.
Oh goodness.
That whole the like I'm gonna like the whole aggressively like I'm gonna suck your dick kind of like that hit a like it's not a nerve, like a pleasure point. I don't know, whatever.
It's a button.
Yeah, it hit a button.
Hit a button.
I've not had that happen, and now I'm curious.
See, I'm very interested in that type of situation because normally I don't come from getting sucked off, but if somebody is playing with my hole while they're sucking me off, sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
ever
let's-
attempt in trying to become a true verse.
let's do the show. Like as we've titillated the audience enough, like with these snippets of like basically porn. So
My favorite thing was when somebody says, "I don't want to come yet." Like, oh motherfucker.
Okay.
Bitch.
Explain. No. I was gonna say explain. Nice. Explain yourself, Adrian, because that's what I want to know. Is like, is it about your mood, about how they say it, like about the moment? Is it all of that, or are you in general like always on the side of I'm in control? I'll make you come when I want you to come.
Really is along those lines, and they don't know how good my mouth can be. So they think they're like up against some regular minion, and I'm like, no, bitch, I'm a boss fight.
Okay.
I mean, you may not want to come.
Blowjobs are not worthy of your load. Fuck you.
Audio erotic
show you.
fantasy. Yeah. I don't want to come yet. We'll see about that. That's basically it. Shall we?
yes.
Fuck out.
Enough talking as if we were porn. Let's talk about porn, shall we? Actually, hold on. I need to remember something. Okay.
Test.
All right, here we go. Let's do the thing. We do this. Okay. Good. I can't see you at the moment.
Yes, we heard it.
Okay, cool. Thank you. And 3, and 2, and 1. It's Sunday, September 7th, 2019. I'm Jeff.
Who's your bear? That's right. I am your bear.
I'm Damon.
I don't brew the tea, I just serve it.
And that makes me Gary.
Don't hurt nobody with your bad self.
And welcome to Comes Out Loud, the Bear Podcast of Indeterminate Length, episode number 524. And we have with us Daddy Hadrian! Yay! I don't have my claps. Applause. Where's my applause? I don't know where it is. I can't find it. Anyways, there's applause. Oh, here it is.
Clap.
Oh my God, five.
Love you. Really love you.
Okay, that's enough of that. I just realized we were doing everything in clockwise order. Starting
Yay.
up here, and then down below me was Damon, and then on the left side, bottom left was Gary, and so, and then we're doing our little Brady Bunch sort of thing.
Wait.
Okay. Jesus.
Okay. You said you wanted to be
Okay.
first.
Okay, enough of that.
Obviously, it's the Silly Sunday show.
Just as a side note, I didn't get to sleep until like 1.
Ah,
So I woke up at like 5:30. So, anyways,
have fun.
Gary,
Enjoy.
what are we talking about?
So I think we might be wrapping up our multi-piece series called "What Porn Taught Us." Welcome to part number 3. Nice. I like how all 3 of us did it the same way, as opposed to this or that. But anyways, that's a visual joke for those of you
Or
that are
5,
listening.
4,
Sorry.
3? Because like the from the Rhythm Nation, the way that they do the count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
So, anyways, previously we talked about what porn taught us, like how it molded us, and what we thought it did for our self-image and our confidence. And one of the things that we had kind of mentioned, I think the last time, was about the future. And by that, like, I was thinking in terms of what porn will do to future generations. Conceptually, like, I'm just going to throw out a couple of like questions and just, we'll kind of go from there. Like, will there be porn in the future? What will porn necessarily be like, do we think? And will it have an impact, or will it just become a part of the norm and we won't even really refer to it as porn, and we'll start moving it to really calling it adult media? And, and like, so, because I think for me, generationally, less and less seems to be happening in terms of like people caring, like having these like social mores and like concerns about being prim and proper and all that. I think people are now moved more into a healthy, I don't give a flying fuck kind of mode about a lot of things. But like,
well, true.
and I'll say this, like, I was just thinking of this, this morning. So while I was on a certain website that has lots of streaming webcams, I happened to notice how many straight men are in touch with their buttholes. And they are enjoying devices that do things.
Yeah.
And
Those love senses or whatever are quite popular, especially on like certain sites, and certain coinage will allow those things to go off. It's kind of, I don't know. I think it's a very interesting thought, like realizing, everyone realizes that there's one of those pleasure centers right there. That prostate, like, and hitting it causes sensations and
right. Or that the butthole in general, has thousands of nerve endings and therefore, is prime real estate for fun. And
gay guys are willing to give you money for you to play with it.
Add to that.
Let's not minimize the fact that there is monetary enjoyment in addition to the neurological enjoyment.
Well, no, right. But isn't that interesting though? Like, I think there was a time when that was a no-go zone. It didn't matter unless you put like a comma in that dollar amount, like for the play. Like now, I don't know if you could really call it gay for play, like conceptually, like
Gay
it's
for pay, you mean?
right. Yeah, I mean, I just think they're more willing to be in tune with themselves. Just like I have a body. This is physically what I have, and this is what brings me pleasure. So I think that's kind of falling away, and it makes me wonder, like, what will porn teach people in the future, if there even is such a concept as porn?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you also have to think of having your hole played with doesn't necessarily need in the case of our case, a man to do it. A woman can play with it. It's just they would have to use like a toy to do it versus an actual penis.
They don't necessarily have to use a toy.
Yeah, pegging.
Well,
Peggy can peg you if you want her to.
Right, and now that we're moving into, I think, an evolution, I guess, psychologically, or at least in terms of like understanding that we don't live in a binary world, even in terms of just like physicality. That I mean, I'll own this. Like, so this is a little bit of a throwback to like the first episode in the series. One of the things I became totally mesmerized by was hermaphrodites. When I was growing up and I saw women, like what looked like a woman physically, had mammaries, otherwise boobs, tits, and like, but then also had a penis but without the nuts, but the penis got hard. I was all like mind blown. Could not conceive or understand what I was seeing in a magazine. I was just like, what? Like, because I grew up like understanding that there was a binary concept, like there was men and there was women, not understanding the whole like in between concepts and DNA and chromosomes and like all this other stuff that can happen, And then it wasn't until I became an adult and I started putting things together from a biological standpoint and recognizing like, oh yeah, there's a whole bunch of different possibilities of what the human body can consist of and what it produces. So now more than ever, I kind of wonder if that's, I don't want to say becoming acceptable or the norm, but if it will be more like people don't really think about it or focus on that.
It's certainly led to a more educated populace. What used to be, the freak video. Oh, I found this one video. It's the only one I've ever found. Now it's so common and people can look it up and it's there. And, you see that there's 100,000 videos of whatever you're searching for, that's pretty clear validation that this is not a niche. This is something that is widespread. And
fair.
I think almost every genre, as long as the internet's been running now for 20-something, almost 30 years now, or it is celebrated its 30th anniversary, but porn on the internet took a little while longer. But this proliferation has definitely led to a more educated populace about not just sexual positions and sexual health and body capabilities and limitations and consent, and just the whole spectrum of sexual health has improved greatly just because of its accessibility.
And just to be fair, it's more of porn took a little bit longer to become pervasive, because I don't know about you, but yes, before the year 2000, I was on a Usenet news group looking at porn. So
Absolutely.
It's been around. I bet you anything, one of the first things that was ever uploaded on the DARPANET, probably just one little image that took forever to download, was some sort of porn. It was probably just hidden away in one little spot, and only a few people, because there was few people who had access to the DARPANET before it became the internet. There was a porn image, probably of some chick, because toxic masculinity back in those days was pervasive.
Not.
So,
but being able to search the internet anonymously back then, more so now. I wonder if we might have lived in some sort of golden age of the internet when the information on it was more accurate. Ads and danger and attacks and other things weren't so prevalent. It was a safer place. It was much more localized to mostly the United States and in universities and that sort of thing, and AOL and your certain playgrounds. But we access the internet in its more purest form of what it was built to do, and we experienced some of that media in its earliest days, and watched one blowjob video turn into I can do that too, and people being able to not only post content anonymously without showing their face, but also search for it. Someone who may have hypermasculine ideals might be able to go search for things that they thought about but never had a chance to explore because they live somewhere where they don't know any about that. But they can talk to the search bar pretty easy.
And I think that means like in another decade to 15 years, we're going to see in our own country here in the United States, like quite an interesting transition of things, because we still have lots of rural areas that do not have high-speed internet to this day. And I think once we move into that, like my one of my coworkers who's a supervisor, manager in training, actually said to me, what do you think will happen when 5G really comes around? And I said, it'll completely change the landscape, and it'll change it where I live, because where I live, we don't have much in terms of fiber optic. Right. So like the fact that 5G can be better and faster than your own, like in your home internet delivery, I'm like, it will revolutionize conceptually like how speed is considered in like data and that. And I think that companies that are not moving ahead or conceptually thinking about that are going to find themselves in a lot of trouble, actually.
Right.
In these areas. But my point is like, as that technology continues to advance and we can hopefully fight these issues about bringing fiber and high speed to like rural areas, kind of like utilities back in, the early 1900s, I think that will really change things, because you will have people in small town areas who are able to pretty much damn near see anything they want online.
Right.
Key, tag, word search, done. So yeah, I mean, it's like, and so that makes me kind of wonder, like, I remember when I was growing up that there seemed to be a small set of kinks, or and I don't even know if I really want to call them kinks, but like uniqueness about what got you off, so to speak, or what you were really into. Some guys were into panties, some guys were into women's lingerie, some were into women's shoes, in terms of like heteronormative concepts. And then as I find out about gay culture, I'm kind of like, oh, well, we switch a panty for a jockstrap. Got it. I mean, some of that kind of stuff, but I wonder, like, if, I don't want to say it'll be a race, but if people will be evolving in such a way that they'll be like really honing in specifically towards unique things that work very specifically for them, and like the broader concepts will fall kind of away. Like there won't be as much as a mass population that's into pick things.
Everybody's gonna find more of their kink.
Yeah, and I think you already see that. Like, the one that immediately comes to mind that seems to be where the zeitgeist is, and everybody seems to be into it, is pup play. That's a fairly new thing, and it's been boiling up for a long time, but it's become a flag of multiple kinks all wrapped into one, or the possibility. There's a spectrum of kinks that come with it, and it represents multiple things. It represents, and the quieter, introverted side of the spectrum of people who the way they communicate is much more internal, and they're very quiet and reserved. And then you have the opposite side. You have the people who are into leather play and hardcore BDSM, and it pulls both of those people into the same kink flag with a huge spectrum of capabilities that it could represent. So I think you see some of that happening already. It's a much more egregious one, but I think you'll see smaller, low-level kinks that get rebranded, flagged like that as you move forward.
Yeah, I can see that being a thing for sure.
And I wonder if, like, I don't know how much porn plays into this, or adult media, especially adult social media, so to speak. But like, I think saline play, like as an example, is what's on my mind right now, has been around for a little while, but it seems there's more prevalence, or it's that, what I don't remember what the word is, the concept of like, because I'm aware of it, it appears more when in fact there is no real like increase in its existence. It's just I see it more. It's kind of like you buy a red car and then everywhere you go you see fucking red cars. Like conceptually. But I was thinking about that recently because I actually heard on a podcast I was listening to where the co-hosts were talking about that they wanted to bring on a guest who was willing to come on that has a pumped dick. And they said they know a lot of people who have like injected their penises, but they don't want to come on, and they think like there's some concern about like ridicule and some other stuff, which I think is pretty interesting. But then they were having this discussion about like what is actually used. And what I found interesting is that one of the co-hosts knew about saline and how the body, ends up absorbing it. And, so basically the body goes back to set base. Like you can enlarge like a scrotum, or different stuff. And I was kind of like, oh, look at that. Someone being a little educated. But, then there was a part of me that's like, well, how prevalent is that? Like conceptually and stuff. And then they also brought up an interesting point in which they said, but, you have to be careful. And the reason they talked about saline was because they mentioned that, silicone can be incredibly dangerous and toxic to the body, and that people have died. And they just kind of left it at that. And I was kind of like, well, maybe that's like where we are, that some things bubble up and kind of, educate in various ways.
Yeah. I think we're getting on is that people are slowly being more free with the things that they enjoy sexually. Right. I think that's something that I know personally have noticed. I mean, hell, if you remember the whole Tumblr / Twitter like transfer, like everything kind of moved, and I wasn't expecting it to happen so quickly, but holy shit, like all these things were happening and all these people, and I'm finding out things about certain friends of mine that I didn't know at first, but thanks to their now updated and changed over Twitter to kind of backlash, say the Tumblr stuff, I'm learning a lot more about the kinks and things that they enjoy, and they're doing so unashamedly, if that makes sense. People are putting their things out there, their kinks out there, the things that they enjoy out there. And I feel that as we move towards the future, that's going to be more acceptable and more okay. I'm okay with you doing certain things to your body that I know personally care about, because that's your body and that's you can choose to do that if you want to.
Right.
Go right on ahead and do that. I'm not going to do it, but I'm not going to yuck your yum, as we've talked about often on the show, and allow you to do what you need to do, as long as it's, everyone always says, as long as it's not hurting anyone, but, let's not limit it to that.
Certain expenses.
And there's two forces at work there. The one force is that, internet is becoming more accessible, more people can access it, older people can access it, but also those older people are aging out of the brackets that don't even know what search is. Because Generation X is becoming our old fuddy-duddies. They're the ones who are getting up there in age as the baby boomers fall off the map. So that's also something. The people who are older also don't share those shameful views. Generation X was much more open about sexuality, being able to express yourself, and they harbor some of that weirdness. They have some slut shaming problems, but they're getting there. They're getting healthier and they're opening up. And then you have millennials quickly coming up behind them with they don't give a goddamn. I think we're going to be really hard pressed to find a millennial political candidate here in about 20 years that we're not going to be able to find matching nude pics of. Because they are very, very open about it. And before they had things like Snapchat and WhatsApp, they could delete your pictures in 10 seconds or whatever. We were all sending in the clear.
Yeah.
And personally, nowadays, if somebody sent somebody a dick pic and for some reason somebody's trying to slander the politician with a dick pic, I'm like, yes, and you haven't sent one before?
Right.
So,
well,
like,
I mean, but look at what happened, like Anthony Weiner, like unfortunate naming, has that whole circumstance come out about like that he sent a picture of his wanger, to somebody. And all I can think is, who cares? Who seriously gives a shit? Like, why are we're going to have this whole morality concept issue about the fact that they're a politician and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm kind of like,
He was married. Just to put a little bit of sanctity on it, he was married. If he was single and it was someone else, then you're like, okay, who gives a fuck? And
what business is it of mine as the lay public? He does not personally represent me for my state or my district area. Oh yeah. And I'm kind of like, so what? Like, I mean, it's kind of like I posed this after the Clinton scandal. Please excuse everybody while we talk politics briefly in a sideways thing about porn. So. Like, and I posed this actually on on one particular person who's been on the podcast. I said, did anyone ever consider that maybe Hillary and Bill were actually in an open relationship and that it all just went to shit sideways because people found out, like, and they had to make it into something, like they had to have this whole, like, it was wrong and blah, blah, blah. I'm kind of like, really? Like,
I don't think you're far off the mark there.
I'm like, so, like, that's the whole thing that bothers me is, like, if they did have an open relationship, like, yeah, it was way before the country was ready to understand that, but it would explain a hell of a lot, like, and the down unfortunate side is that everybody else, like, had to stick their nose into it, and it's kind of like, I don't give a shit what he did to a blue dress, whatever. Like, people sell shit on the internet all the time with DNA on it. Ain't no big deal. Well, they do.
I mean, fair.
It's that whole. That's
because it's true.
Changing population and the way they feel about embarrassment and shame and what is and isn't shameful and sexuality, and that's that.
Well,
there were people who thought that was the most salacious, wonderful thing you could get on the internet, and now you could, as you're right, as time goes on, we're like, so you're right. Millennials who come out with dick pics so there's going to be a vast majority of the population who isn't going to give a fuck.
Yeah.
I think there was a vast majority of the population that didn't give up a fuck in the first place. The only problem is that we have all these, is that the people who are talking on the news and everything are those people that do find it scandalous because of their old way of thinking of everything and aren't just open to the concept. I'm like, okay, so he got his dick sucked. How does this affect how well he can lead a country? Question mark.
Well,
Yeah,
if you want to like focus on female politicians and talk about their time of the month, can we talk about the fact that men have a time of the month? Thank you very much. Like if you withhold sex, like they go crazy. So like maybe having a blowjob was actually the best things that could have happened in the country. I mean, come on, like.
Well, yeah.
That's why I always thought the Monica Lewinsky scandal was like, oh, so he got a blowjob. He's a man.
Well, right, and so Adrian,
I'm like, shrug.
I think your point is well taken about like in the 15 to 20 years to come, like that stuff will probably be divisive to certain people, but more and more people will not care because eventually someone somewhere sometime either the Future of Good Morning America or the Today Show or something will end up saying who hasn't sent a blank picture to somebody else.
That's right.
Actually, that's probably been said before. It's just one of those obscure things that nobody actually talks about.
I don't know if Huda and like, you know, Katie Couric and them can really kind of say that. I don't know if any of them kind of said that just now, but your point is taken.
Again,
like, you know that we're living in that age now where that's actually a valid question. And so in the future, it may not
Fox News will always
matter.
be the accusation and stuck in the old ways of propriety. Although isn't it usually the Republicans that are doing all the "you doth protest too much"?
Oh yeah.
Well, I feel more often than not that it's progressive people who point at the conservatives who are like, "Oh, look at you, get your hand caught in a cookie jar," like doing the exact thing that you like say that shouldn't happen. Oops. So, like, to me, that's just like,
and all the Democrats just be like, "Yeah, and."
Well, I mean, I just kind of feel like it's going to take more time for people to come to terms with things and for things to be okay and be acceptable as it like, you know, it's not, doesn't even draw their attention or kind of blip.
Mhm.
I mean, I think about this now, like how many people with smart devices don't have some form of adult media or whatever on it?
Yeah.
Can we just say what it is and just call it porn? This adult media thing just sounds...
There's a difference, though. Adult media porn, there has to be a level of separation. Is the stuff that I produce myself and send to my friends porn? No, because I'm not meaning to sell it. It's not being produced in some way. There's no editing. There's nothing there. I made something and I sent it to a friend of mine. It's media and it is meant to be adult to adult. So I think that the separation there is important because we're pointing out that I am not making this for distribution.
Mm-hmm.
It's a sense of understanding that this media that I've created is not meant for distribution. I'm sending it to you and you only as a private thing.
But it is pornographic.
It could be. What is porn? Porno is a Latin word, isn't it? And doesn't it mean?
Hold on.
I know it's actually Greek.
So it's literally we're watching prostitute video. That would be pornographic. So prostitute images.
Pornographos, writing about prostitutes from the mid-19th century Greek.
There we go. So I'm not a prostitute. So that's adult media.
Well,
I'm just an adult making stuff that I don't want a child or a minor to see.
Well, so yeah, I mean,
this is worth discussing.
Anyway. Oh God.
Then Pornhub is a misnomer.
Nope.
I mean, there is a bunch of
Well,
actual porn, but then there's a lot of adult media, the non-porn, because they're not being paid for it because they somebody uploaded something.
Pornhub is being paid for it, so that could be considered porn. And it's called Pornhub. I don't think it's a misnomer. I think once you put it on in a published state, then you've changed over from adult media to porn.
I don't know. I'm just annoyed by the separation of the two. I think it's one of those things where it's just kind of like what the original meaning was no longer really has as much of an effect as the current culture. It's like it's porn.
Actually, I think getting away from that definition would be great because we're not talking about prostitution in any capacity anymore. I think. Well,
I've never thought of porn as prostitution. That's the thing.
Well, so here's the thing:
it's just the
most
adult adventures. You could say
most common definition now is printed or visual material containing explicit description or display of sexual organs or activity intended to stimulate erotic rather than aesthetic or emotional feeling. So if Hadrian's sending images of himself with the intention to stimulate other people, it's technically pornography.
Okay,
It's
fair
just free porn. It's you're not paying for it.
Oh my god!
enough.
I win.
And as a random misnomer, Google says that in 1994 was the height of the use of word pornography, and it's been falling ever since.
Good to
So,
know.
Everybody's just
but that
shorting
might
it
be
to
part of the
porn.
whole thing that Hadrian's talking about. Like, and that's why I'm saying, like, in the future, that's why I keep saying, like, adult media, because to me that seems to be more inclusive or conceptual as opposed to. But then again, like, even that's probably, like, archaic in a way, because call it adult versus what?
I feel like adult media is like a very what's the word? Clinical.
Sterile.
Yeah, sterile. Clinical.
I'm fine with clinical.
And I don't know about you, but I'm not clinical.
Well, I mean, so where do we think things will go though in the future? Like, if we could theoretically, use a crystal ball and see into things, do we think that it will become so massive, like pervasive, commonplace that it won't really be that, exclusionary or like, I'm trying to think of how I want to phrase it, like, because we all grew up in a time of like Larry Flick, like, versus the government and fighting for rights and imagery and the Mapplethorpe exhibit and like all of this stuff about like freedom of expression and rights of individuality when it comes to our bodies and what we do with them. So I'm wondering if like that will not be a thing, because we will have gotten to a point where it's kind of like literally no fucks given. Like, just don't care.
Yeah. I think porn becomes more optional as time moves on. There's a rubber band, of course, in the zeitgeist, and people pulled porn really far to the right for a while. Like, this was a wrong, evil thing, and it has to bounce back, and it becomes over commonplace, and everybody's invested in it. And I think we've seen that peak already. I think when Chatterbait first came out, that may have been peak porn a little bit, and there's still some stuff going on, but. And it'll eventually, and there's a little bit of that swing back where recently, you had Tumblr with their porn thing earlier, late last year. You have Twitter, which is doing some weird things now. Instagram has started their crackdown. So there's things that vibrate back and forth, and it eventually will settle down to where porn is just another aspect of our culture, just like other things that may have been salacious before, whether it was rock and roll or gangster rap or movie houses or what, or skimpy outfits, beds that, queen king size beds instead of separate beds. Oh my goodness. All things, things bounce back and forth, and I think porn becomes more optional. It's just like, oh, well, that's what they do. He does porn.
Yeah. I think you're right with it being kind of more optional, but I think but I don't think it's necessarily going to reduce pervasiveness of porn. Like, it may be optional, but it's going to still remain, freely available. It's going to always be there and ready for you to whenever you need it. I do think that that because of the pervasiveness of the internet and the accessibility of porn in some way, shape, or form online is probably what's helping the sexual revolution. I'm not sure if that's the right term of the of everybody in the world. It's just being able to release that, because you get to see more as to what it is. You can truly try to find your kink. Really? Yeah, it's because it's just out there. There's you can find it anywhere. So, excuse me, I think there's an alarm that's going off in the other room. So
okay,
continue talking amongst yourself.
Okay. One thing I've wondered about when it comes to porn is that what else is there to do? I mean, you can see just about everything now as far as sexual positions, things you can do with various orifices. And it's all been done in really high definition at this point. Like, for a while there was the jump, like, from crappy web cameras you plug into your computer that get 320p. Then you got up to 1080, and then, people were, now it's 4K and 8K. And I'll be honest, 8K at that point, I'm like, I really didn't need to see your pores as you were having sex. The glisten of the butt was fine. I didn't need to see the actual sweat excretion. So I think that we're getting to a point where what else is there left to do besides seeing someone modern doing it, or besides situations that come and go in the zeitgeist? Like for a while there was the bang bus thing. That seemed to be something everyone was into. Now, if you look at the front page of Pornhub, the big popular thing seems to be stepsister porn, which is bizarre. There's a lot of strange spectrums that come and go on the front page of different porn companies that are more commonly searched for.
I don't know if like produced professional film, quote unquote, as media will really continue on after a certain point, right? Because we've moved it over. Like anybody could make anything. Like as an example, Jim and Damon could start their own thing if they wanted to and put it out there.
That's cute. No.
Like
we're not saying you're gonna do it. We're just saying you can.
Hadrian and Bailey could, do their own thing, and put it out there. We've moved the technology over into the hands of the layperson, so they can literally create anything, make anything,
True.
And so I kind of don't know how much more of that will continue on. What I think is more stimulating for people now is the immediacy of the now without the actual interaction. And more importantly, the control you can have over another person's pleasure.
Right.
So devices like Love Sense that react to external stimuli, whether it be sound or on the app, you can give someone else a code and then they can actually control it and how it reacts and acts to you. Like to me, like and then like fuck machines used to be like, almost urban legend kind of thing. And then now, there's actual companies that make them, and sell them.
You could actually get a fuck machine on Wish.
What?
You can actually get one on Wish.
I don't know if I want to buy a fuck machine for like a penny on Wish. I'm just thinking there's
I'm just putting it out there.
That makes me wish for a, no pun intended, wish for a someone to come out with a basically the sex version / kink version of Good Eats. So it'd be like good sex.
Oh, good lord.
And talk about the differences of like it goes on dildos.
How they're manufactured, what their qualities are, what the materials do, how they react.
What the things you might want to look for.
Yeah, which ones are the best for dishwasher usage.
How to properly use it and properly clean it.
Oh my god.
So, you want to store it in an airtight container.
Anyways. Yeah, I mean
Good Eats has returned, so it's on my mind.
Obviously.
In fact, it might be airing right now.
Yeah, I mean but I think that that's more what people are like, because we've shifted into this immediacy culturally, like the whole I gotta have it, I have to have it now, I have to be like stimulated in the immediate and have that like instant gratification. I think that's a big aspect of what will come to the forefront for people. How do they do that? Right. like if I'm, and conceptually this like will work really well for people that are in relationships, especially if they have to be apart from each other for distance or time, because there was a thing called, phone sex at a certain point where you actually spoke over the phone and said things, while you were like away from each other. And then that turned into like video chat, video calls and like,
which is just phone sex with video.
Well, I mean, there was just audio, and then we brought the video and the audio components together. The technology has gotten better. So in theory, with 5G, you will literally have streaming anything at any moment, regardless of who, what, where, when.
Oh, there will still be buffering.
There will still be buffering. Who knows?
Honestly, it kind of depends. If governments allow to make it, who can afford the best gets the best.
Just a quick side note here. Speaking of 5G, if you're an AT&T customer and you look at your phone and it says 5GE, that is not 5G. That's just LTE with some technology to help make it faster and more reliable, but it's not 5G.
Okay.
AT&T is lying to you, but we won't get into that.
So I know that something that 5G would enable is like PBXs in the cloud sort of thing. So the old party lines from the 80s and 90s that people used to do, your 976 numbers and but that could transition to more of a FaceTime situation where somebody could connect people to multiple FaceTime lines, where you could call into a system and it randomly connects you with a person you have to interact with. So the porn can move in that kind of direction, where porn is more one-on-one again. Instead of it just being somebody produces a video and it's
the
out
revival
there.
You chat roulette.
You can pay $5 to get FaceTime with someone, not just on Chatterbait.
So maybe that is the future. Like maybe the future is like the technology will allow for real-time cloud-based orgies.
There we go.
Yeah, that seems like a possibility.
I really like how watching you, Hadrian, turn the wheels and think that over and be like, okay.
Yeah, when you introduce gamification and other things, yeah, absolutely. That's exactly the kind of thing you could create. That seems like a lot of hardware setup, but it's possible. I mean,
3D device.
People are willing to put up with Oculus Rift. Why wouldn't they put up with that?
Well, I mean, that brings a whole new meaning to multiplayer.
Multiple players playing Strange Flesh.
Well, yeah. I don't know about that, but anyways.
I mean, imagine
real time
Sensate type orgies with your hardware.
Oh, that is a concept.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
they can fuck you from all across the nation.
Hardware interface is coming. I mean, right now we have mice and we touch the screen and that sort of thing. There could come a day where it's much more integrated to the human neurological experience, where we are able to think and make things happen, or even have feedback from that sort of system. I mean, brings up a whole new world of privacy concerns. But this probably isn't even probably in our great grandchildren's future, but who knows? There's all kinds of sensory input that could occur if we can extend the human neurological system.
So a bottom gets two tops on the line, and they're virtually DP'd.
Well, no, but that's what I was just thinking is like maybe that's like the future is the technology is, that, we do get chips planted in us or whatever, but the integration of that technology means that you don't physically have to touch another person. You have the sensation, but you're not physically with them.
It becomes like Demolition Man.
Yep. 3 seashells.
Wow.
No, because I was just thinking about it. I'm like, how interesting would that be? Like George Lucas's THX 1138, I still think is an amazing film conceptually, in that it was about a dystopian future kind of concept where like things didn't have meaning. Like they had meaning, but they really truly didn't have meaning. So like the concept of commerce, like you went and you bought something and then you brought it home and then you basically immediately threw it away because you just bought a bauble. Like it doesn't really do anything or mean anything. And I always think back to that about like the future of where we're going to be and what we're going to do. And so Hadrian, like what you were talking about, I was like, oh, like how wild would that be? And unfortunately, probably people would like really love that because I think society-wise, we're becoming more and more like introverted. Like we don't want to be with other people because we're so self-consumed and worried about what that means, like to be with another person, Talk
about rubber band. I mean, people are coming back from social media and they're pulling in. Like, no, I really don't know what I want to share out there anymore because I don't know how this information is being used. So there may come a time where it can be represented and people can explore deeper things because it's secure. And I know that my little search for boobies isn't being gobbled up by someone and put into a metadata that they're tracking me with. People want to know that they can explore safely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't help when I keep getting
experience be introduced and keep people safe.
It doesn't help when I keep getting ads for Zola, which is a wedding planning website.
I was like, what the hell is Zola?
Wow.
And also ads for Fabletics, which frequently is about women and leggings, and I'm like, not interested. This is called the ads I get on YouTube TV.
Yeah.
And all the ads that I get on YouTube TV. Humera, a whole bunch of different drugs. It's awful.
Well, you're not far from the subject there. You know, those are the kind of ads that'll be.
That's why I want to be tracked. So they actually give me good ads.
Right. So Pornhub could say, "Hey, did you know? Hey, your insurance company is Kaiser Permanente. You know, Kaiser Permanente has a great sexual health program. Maybe you should go get tested and come check things out." You know, it's just kind of a why can't my real life have ad space on my in the things that I consume and all of them, not just the ones that they want, like freaking overdoing it on YouTube. Why can't they come for me on my porn space too and keep me safe?
God.
So as we see porn as less shameful, we will allow advertisers to power these industries by making them more legitimate.
Yeah, all I'm getting on there is take a survey, see somebody get a cock up their ass, or just a lot of ads for Blue Chew, which as of right now, I don't think I have erectile dysfunction, so.
But it's probably on your mind now.
From your age, that's what trust me, those cranked up about 39 as well, about 38, 39. They started coming right in. Guys, really
I see it all the time.
I suppose you're right.
It's a thing now.
Well, I think
we may still call ourselves Cubs, but we're old.
Well, but I was just about to say though, like that's the upside though. Like in another 5 to 10 years, the chemical base that makes up those ED products though will end up going to generic. So you will be spending as much money if you legitimately need them.
Well,
I think because like Blue Chew is basically the same active ingredients as like Viagra and Cialis. I know because I see the ad all the freaking time.
And ads never lie, ever. But anyways,
anywho,
well, it literally says the same active.
No, I know. But I also saw a headline about how somebody like just got brought in by the FBI and like the DHIS or whatever for 1.2 billion.
Starting at $20 a month.
Imagine that.
I'm literally looking at an ad for Blue Chew right now. I'm just there's two on this site.
Oh my God! Seeing the plans, and it says this is the active ingredient in Viagra.
But anyway,
this is the active ingredient in Cialis.
Yeah.
When they mix it, no. When it comes part of a Metamucil powder pack, I'll be interested. Maybe. Like,
oh my God.
Wow.
So you don't want to chew it.
Blending things together in the future, like
So you're basically saying you don't want to chew it. You just want to drink it.
God.
Well, I'm like, put the two of them together, like.
For the 50, 60, 70-year-olds that need that fiber as well as that fiber.
Well, right, and so
I don't think that worked very well, Damon, but nice try. I applaud your effort.
First of all, it'll be the flavor of whatever the flavor of the thing is at that time, because flavors come and go. Like Chipotle was a big thing for a while, then acai berry was a thing for a while. Like something else will come along and we'll be like, oh, this is all the rave. So it'll be a drink that has whatever the flavor thing is at the time. It'll probably have a significant amount of protein, so you feel full. It'll have fiber, so it'll help keep you regular. And then they'll just, add some of the ED stuff to it, because then, you got it all going on.
Yeah, no, that's not allowed until
you'll have
that nonsense until we do something for her. No, they don't get to show up at Starbucks with flavors. Ladies can't take care of their business too.
Well, okay, and this is me being dumb because I am, because I'm very much not familiar with the opposite gender. Being a cis white male, what issues would women have, or how would the equivalent of ED?
Birth control is not as readily available as Viagra, which is stupid.
There you go.
Yeah,
birth control is one. There are
so the blueberry is for the guy, and the cherry is for the girl. And it's just they have this nice little smoothie beverage, and they click together, and they both drink up. And she's birth controlled, and he's hard as a rock.
Wait, so I just realized something. Why hasn't this happened yet? Why hasn't a pharmaceutical company created protein shakes that like do exactly these things that we're talking about? Yes, you need a prescription, but you could actually get them.
Supposed to do. You can't introduce them. The FDA wouldn't allow that. There's a whole long list of reasons why. Trust me, they're stupid.
Oh, bullshit. If I could go into Sam's Club and I could buy as much protein powder as I want, or I could buy all of these other drinks, there's no reason why you just can't put a medicine in it and then sell it like via the pharmacist. There's no reason you can't. It can be done. I don't agree that the FDA wouldn't necessarily agree to it.
It does have to be approved by the FDA.
It just has to be money in it. It just has to be money in it. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And if women were willing...
Oh, yeah. That's actually the easier ways. You need to fund campaigns.
But, like, think about it, though. Like, if you could go to your pharmacist and be like, you know, can I please have the mango banana, you know, power pack or whatever, and you walk out with a case of 30 beverages that you drink one a day, every single day, you know?
Well, that's something else porn gets to do as well, is do that kind of advertising space. I mean, Viagra caught on. Yeah, it was known about, but it took a little while for it to catch on throughout the Southeast because people just didn't know what the hell it was. And that also helps for other forms of sexual health. For example, one day in the future, there's going to be some new STD that's going to pop up on the scene we're going to have to deal with. And the sexual health education system we have built into the tube sites and all of porn can very quickly disseminate that information, because you can have a bunch of porn stars talking about it and saying, hey, I used to take Truvada, but we're throwing that out the window now because now we're taking Truvada 2 or whatever the next hot thing, or we're back to using condoms again. Everybody, come on, let's get back on the train. So you now have this built-in support system that can disseminate information not just about the hottest new sex toy, but also the hottest new sexual health.
Mm-hmm. See, I'm a big fan of that idea, that concept. I know it sucks sometimes because people don't like to think about it, but that is the thing. Like, you have to think about it.
Yeah,
you know,
we don't have to deal with Shishi LaRue screaming at us to wrap it up anymore. Or whatever's going on. It doesn't have to be one very loud, screechy voice. We have a whole community that's open enough to talk about this sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, Pornhub really needs to it has to be multiple different versions for reasons, but they really need to do the equivalent of the sex/kink version of Good Eats. I swear they really need to. I think they would be the perfect one to do that because they're the one that's advertising for pretty much everything and doing even charity work for things. And I'm not sure, I haven't looked deeply enough. They've been making a section for educational videos anyways. Now, if they just did in the style of Good Eats, I'd probably watch. And especially if one version had a bear doing it, a chubby bear.
You let them know, girl.
I am right here, live on air.
Do it.
This isn't Twitch, so you can't clip that and send it. You have to click the whole video, but when the video comes up, you can actually just find the marker, and when you do the share link, you say start at that time and send a link. So
yeah.
So something I thought was interesting for the immediate future of porn that I've been enjoying. It's been going on for a while, but I'm wondering how far it could expand. And that's a particular stream of videos called Popper Pig videos or something like that, where it's a guy who takes you through a guided tour of poppers, and he shows you these different montages of videos. He over inundates you with videos, and then he has this little icon in the lower right corner that tells you, hey, get your bottle ready. Okay, inhale for X number of times. Whatever that means. I don't know how to use poppers at all, and I didn't advertise anybody to use them at all. But this video is disclaimer. But it tells you what to do with your poppers, and you do it with the timing on the video, and it tells you when to inhale, when to let it go, and that sort of thing. And it gives you different types of porn and overlayers them and shows you all the cum shots at one time. And it's like a cacophony of bear porn and other kinds of porn too that this guy's put together. And there's moaning in your ears and dirty talking and that sort of thing. So it's very much a multi-sensory experience, to say the least.
Best to be
I've
to
seen-
have like earbuds or something
Yes.
so that it's right in your ear instead of like just having it playing through your TV or your HomePod or something like that.
And my neighbors don't.
You're what?
My neighbors don't eat that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Plus,
can't-
the
I will
sensory.
not say-
Plus, it's part of the sensory thing. You need to kind of. It's better sound if it's just going directly into your ears versus going through the room. So.
I know of these videos. I have seen these videos.
Yeah.
I have participated in said video. I think it's
All right,
very
so
interesting
I'm
experience.
very intrigued by these videos. We
You're
need
not
some
familiar.
links to put them out. No, I don't know. I'm intrigued by this little popper pig Chiron thing
Hold
that
on.
pops up and like tells you what to
Don't
do.
worry, Damon's about to have one in like 3, 2.
No, it ain't gonna be that.
No.
fast.
So here's the thing. Like, I just want to watch it to like see it because like I don't do that substance. It's of no interest to me. Like but I'm really curious from an educational standpoint. I'm like,
and just beating off to it. It's a lot of fun. Without that, you can ignore the meter and just enjoy the videos.
Yeah, you
And I
don't
like
necessarily
the
have to
idea
popper
that
for it.
There's
I've
so
seen a couple of them.
much fucking porn on the internet that we can now have these compilation videos where everything's just being thrown at you. I imagine that there might be a place for this in other,
I mean,
straight porn and other stuff where you can just get inundated with all the best porn of a particular genre.
Yeah.
I know there's compilation videos, but taking a step further and actually edit it together.
well,
as we
there,
learned
I mean, like
in the last episode, Hadrian does not want to watch that of himself. So
triple.
Right.
I mean,
Although
Triple
he's
XL
in-
Productions
Yeah, I know,
did do
couple
their
of
Big
these.
Shots videos.
Well, see, that's different because that's
I mean,
just all the
it
cum
is
stock.
different, but I mean, it's still technically a compilation. I did say that
Okay.
right.
yep, I caught it.
Hold on. And
I'm surprised this is taking you so long.
there you go.
Beep, beep.
I can't
Popper
click that
Piggy,
link.
thicker is better. July of 2018. Okay, we'll have to go look that up and watch
That's
it.
one of them.
Did I already like that one? I'm wondering. I just hope it doesn't autoplay. No, that's not supposed to open up the other Skype window. It's supposed to keep this regular Skype window.
I probably will not share that with the live chat. Sorry, folks. I
this
will,
is on
however,
Xteam,
share it
too.
with our entourage group.
You guys can Google search
Also, you can
for educational purposes.
Yeah.
There's a reason why I read
See,
off some of what's in the URL.
Look
There
at
you go.
So,
So I'm not sure
Yeah.
if maybe it's a flash in the pan and maybe it's not, but this seems to be something that people are very interested in, is being able to. And I will even say for a fact there was a bear event here on the
Oh,
West
this
Coast
is the
where
entire
one was
user
being
too. if
aired,
you can
and
look
they
at-
got a room full of people to come experience this porn together.
Oh,
Really?
Well,
Yeah, come together with their little VHS head cleaners and their VHS tapes they wanted to clean in a room together.
Sure. Right. Of course. Yeah. Of course.
I
Definitely. Uh-huh.
this was this. Are you referring to the one that Bear Films did?
No. He's saying that they actually showed this video in a room with a bunch of people.
Oh, okay.
So
But I do
on
know-
the official schedule of said event, there was a VHS cleaning activity in a room, and everyone was asked to bring their cleaner with them.
Got it.
It's part of the historical pornographic, society. As they're preserving the porn
Yes.
for future generations.
Those VHS tapes need to be cleaned. All of them.
and preserved because eventually they will break and fall apart and not work.
I
anymore.
know they will. Yeah, that's so true.
What's
Uh-huh.
with the ice cube trays?
DVD.
Did y'all see the tweet from Southwest Air?
Wait.
I'm posting it. in chat.
Uh-oh. Hold up.
I'm breaking
Anyway.
Shady scandal shit or
scandal.
Ooh.
Question mark?
Yeah.
how long ago was this?
It's not that scandalous, but it's scandal.
Oh, girl.
As we wait for the link.
Yes, or it's an image. I'm posting it right in.
Here are some popular songs by the Human League.
So to
Hey
read that out
Siri,
loud,
stop!
somebody on Twitter wrote, Southwest Air. So did we or did we not find out we can take poppers on our carry-on?
Hey Siri,
Southwest Airlines
stop.
responds directly and says,
Jesus.
"Thanks for reaching out to us. Currently, TSA does not prevent passengers from bringing video head cleaner in their carry-on." Come on, man. You know the lingo.
Wow. Fucking phone.
Where is the date? Where's the date timestamp on this thing?
There isn't one, but I think a friend of mine sent it to me directly. I think they actually saw it live.
Oh my god, I can't right now. Because it's funny because as someone who travels usually like around their birthday and is going to have fun in some other cities, I tend to think of this question. Although I normally don't take a carry-on, so
if you're bringing your VCR head cleaner, you just put it in your
Video
luggage.
head cleaner.
You're just tightly wrapped, maybe in some bubble wrap or something, instead of your carry-on, because it's not like you need to use it on the plane. Although that would be a porn.
It has been. Although it would be really hard to record.
You would need to get it. Most likely, if there was a porn of this happening, when they recorded such a thing, they would have like temporarily leased out the thing, and it would all be actors, and the plane would never actually leave the ground. They would just pretend that it's in the air.
Oh, I'm sure they've done that many times.
Okay, so FYI, I have seen a porn called Night Flight, in which it was from the 80s, and it is essentially a porn in which they are on a plane, and then they land, but the main part of it is on a plane. Now, this is not a like U.S. flight. This is obviously our U.S. Airways. This is obviously a fake, this is a set. Because the bathroom was huge.
Oh, yeah.
You could fit 3 people. It was clearly not an airport or an airplane bathroom. It may have been an airport bathroom, but it was not an airplane bathroom. So fuck that shit right there. And then they're doing it on the sea.
That's one thing I'm glad that isn't the future of porn, because I'm glad we're out of the phase where it seemed like everybody wanted to see where they could get away with having sex. Like St. Eagles Cathedral, and in churches and playgrounds and all kinds of weird shit that people were trying to get away with, and the White House lawn. I mean, I'm like, okay, guys, we really you can have sex at home and it's still art. You don't have to go crazy. Yeah. So at least we're past that phase of porn curiosity.
We're basically okay if they're recording the porn in a hotel room.
Yeah.
So just so everybody's aware, because I had to follow up on it, the Southwest image tweet that Hadrian was actually reading off to us, that tweet is not available anymore. It disappeared from their official account. But the one that started it from Room Temp Fleet that says, "So did we or did we not find out if we could take poppers in our carry-ons?" still exists. It was September 5th of this year. And then someone replied to that and said, yeah, about that. "Once I was pulled aside at TSA check as my bag failed the explosive test, and I had to have a bomb expert check it out only to find, quote unquote, video head cleaner residue was on the bag."
I'm going to call it shenanigans, but maybe.
They said that stuff contains nitrates, and will get you searched. So don't carry on. And I'm like, well.
Don't carry on and pack. And when you pack in your bag, make sure it is safed and wrapped in stuff to keep it from breaking.
It does. You don't have to do
and make
all
sure
that
it's
shit.
tightly closed.
Yes, and make sure you test that closure too. There was a certain batch of my favorite
VCR head.
VCR head cleaner that did not have a very good lid on it.
So I will say this. I'm thinking they're not allowed to be brought on because they are flammable. That's the key thing.
Probably.
On a carry-on. Yes.
Right.
Anyway, moving right along. Future porn. Let's get back to topic.
Well, I think we diverged because we kind of
Diverted.
I'll be honest. I don't
Well,
know
that's one of the futures of porn was talking about the Popper Piggy-ish videos.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
the future of porn is also so. I think the future of porn right now is heavily linked to the future of the internet and the changing in some of the rules and laws that govern the internet and changing of the liability of who posts what and who can be sued for it is chipping away at that right as well. That some of the things that we take for granted as far as anonymity and being able to post things are under threat. I think Twitter is gearing up for a massive campaign against porn. Instagram already did theirs. Facebook did it a long time ago. Tumblr seems to be vacillating. I don't know. They changed ownership recently, so yay for them. Did you guys know that? Yeah.
Did they actually get purchased?
Yes.
Because I know Pornhub was interested in purchasing them.
WordPress bought them, surprisingly.
Oh.
Huh. Good to know.
It was very quiet. I was hoping Pornhub was going to get it, but no, WordPress got it, which is a positive. They're a good company. So they've been they know how to work both the rules.
Does that mean we can create our own like Tumblrs? Like we can do our own WordPress sites? I could install Tumblr on cubsoutloud.com.
I'd imagine they do something. They bought it for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was August 12th. That's interesting because Tumblr at one time back in 2013 sold for $1.1 billion. On Monday, this is back in August when this article was written, it was sold or bought for just $3 million.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fuck you, Verizon.
And who knows, Automatic may actually be like, oh, well. Hey, remember that whole porn thing? Yeah, whatever.
But no, people are posting porn freely nowadays. I think they were trying to use some sort of third-party tool to filter it all out, and that third-party tool did not work.
Mm-hmm.
So,
it doesn't.
We're gonna get all the details about this in a few years as they leak
all right.
out. But
I'm gonna check out like my Tumblr account right now.
So Automatic is the name of the company that owns WordPress. It's got 3 T's in it, so it's Auto, and then Matic has 2 T's back to back in it. Apparently, is the owner. So not a whole lot is necessarily known about what will come of it, but
the help the internet help porn, and I know there's dark web and other stuff like that, but hopefully the internet porn should not be pushed into that realm. It really should be freely available as a recognized form of expression. Of course, I believe that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
this is too funny. So after the Axios editor Dan Premack reported that Tumblr sold for less than $3 million, one Twitter user quipped simply, "Tumblr's porn blogs could have literally had a GoFundMe and bought the entire platform."
Right?
Yeah, but you would still need like people to manage it and such.
Right. That's why I'm amused by it. I'm like, I don't know.
Verizon didn't want to sell it to someone that was going to backhand them like that. They wanted someone who would be quiet about the problems they've exerted over the platform. And WordPress probably agreed to that.
Yeah. Interesting.
Because that was one of the things that killed AOL even further was all the stories that came out after the failed NCI WorldCom AOL merger. Or AOL Time Warner. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm still seeing it looks like your post may be in violation of our community guidelines and is now hidden post still. So
it doesn't mean that like
it's not all of them, but it's there on a frequent. Yeah, even my own ones.
Well, that's at least the immediate future of porn. We can't post to Tumblr.
Yeah. I mean, all my stuff's there. I can still look at it, but that's about it. Anyways, that's besides the point. Anyways. So, what do you think? Is that the end? Sounds like it.
Do we need a part 4?
I don't know.
Oh, God. Scary.
The far-flung future of porn!
Immersive, like...
In the future, you'll travel at the speed of light and have sex with yourself in the future.
Well, I mean, Owen did ask, did I already miss the VR porn discussion? I think we talked a little bit about that in a very vague, not directly VR-ish sort of way. But like, don't try to make fetch happen. Kind of like me putting in all my bear profiles. I put in my bear code. But and we already talked about that.
I don't know if that's really going to become a thing. Like, I think VR has kind of fallen flat. Like, I think it's
Like
there
3D.
for gaming, but I don't think it's there for much else. And I don't know if it ever will expand beyond.
It's possible. I think it the right circumstance and the right amount of technology and money, people can make things happen. It's it's not. It could potentially happen. It could be a future possibility. I could see it being a possibility. It's been like in the movies for like years, like Total Recalls and things like that, where that's kind of the thing where you go into this virtual world and you're
Demolition
playing
Man.
with whatever.
And video games has always been hyper realism. The goal has always been to walk around the room in the video game, and I'm sure that porn's not far behind that, which opens up a small floor discussion about the concept of deep fakes, where how long is it going to be before you can just program who you want in and you can direct them in a porn, because the computer hardware is powerful enough to create a virtualized representation of what you want that can convince you. What happens when the uncanny valley has been busted and people can select any celebrity they want?
I don't
things.
I don't think it will be pervasive until we have holodecks.
Well,
Because then I could just order up the plethora of Bearmans, have them make have it program in a sling, and I'll be set. At least for that.
Well, I mean,
that
like
private
but
little
before
session.
we get,
and it will
before we
be
get to that
perfectly
point-
safe because because they're all virtual. It'll be a holographic dick to go into your ass.
That is until there's a malfunction on the holodeck, and then you have to call Janeway or 7F9 or somebody to help you.
Okay,
So-
now we are in Part 4 territory.
But this is the thing, is I think before you get to holodeck concept, I think what we'll be bridging together is possibly VR with sex dolls or devices, like something that manifests reality that is not reality. Like, sex dolls are on the rise. Sex dolls are being made. People are spending buku bucks for replica of not just pieces of anatomy, but like entire individuals. And I'm not talking about like what you go and buy it like, at adamandeve.com or the Lion's Den. Like
It would be the haptic feedback suit that you would put on. It would be relatively skin tight. So whenever the virtual person is touching you, you feel it while you have your eyes covered with the VR headset.
Because that's a lot of work, and I think there is still the basic human need for some sort of real live human contact.
Yeah,
correct.
Fucking
agreed.
work. I think we're overestimating. I think there's a backlash to devices coming where human contact becomes wanted again, at least in a way that's safe. When we finally gotten over the hurdle of the hypermasculine bullshit we've dealt with for the last 50 years, and people know they can hang out in public without getting rape jokes or catcalled or someone showing up with a semi-automatic weapon, I think we'll see people wanting to actually hang out in public again.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you won't need this kind of extreme hardware experience to just simply get off.
I disagree.
Oh.
I think
you don't think that humans are going to come back together? You don't think that the future of sex is just sex with each other? Because we have the medical technology to keep ourselves safe?
I don't have the confidence in that. And the reason why is because of how many people are turning to the internet in order to get off now. Why would they move away from that when it gives them exactly what they need? Like, I think less and less people are even using dial-a-dick. Like, I don't think as many people are using apps anymore to hook up. I think there's more and more, can I get what I need when I want in this immediacy, instant gratification thing? Because like, I got to go to work, I got to leave in like 15, 20 minutes. Can I get a quick, yank off? And I think that like takes precedence over all the rest of the stuff. So I don't really know if like people will collectively in the future kind of, go in a different direction. I'm not saying that it can't happen, but I'm admitting my own limited view based on where things are today. In the short-term future,
Basically, what you're saying here is, yes, there's going to be a part 4. Because that's a discussion for another show.
Okay.
I hate to say this. I have to leave in an hour and 15
From the
minutes.
internet, I can lead that.
Yeah, I have to leave it an hour and 15 minutes. So I hate to say this, but yes, this is the end. I'm sorry.
Okay. It's all right.
Anyways, plenty of ways to contact us. You know the drill. Cubsoutloud.com, cubsoutloud@gmail.com. Voicemail, sexy or otherwise, 361-COL Talk, 361-265-8255. Various social media outlets at Cubs Out Loud in the appropriate place of the URL. Instagram, Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, YouTube. You can join our Entourage chat where you can link to that Popper Piggy video at tinyurl.com/telegram-COL. Subscribe to our Google Calendar to find out when we're doing these shows, which will be switching to days quite frequently because my schedule is changing. At tinyurl.com/calendar-COL on a computer because it doesn't work on mobile devices. You can get merch such as a Sloppy Bottom 23 shirt that Gary's wearing. Now that you're sticky, here's your cookie shirt that Damon is wearing. Or this version 2 Cubs Out Loud logo shirt that I'm wearing, as well as various other merchandise at cecil.com/cubsoutloud. You can become a patron at patreon.com/cubsoutloud. You can rate us on iTunes, subscribe to us on Google Play Podcasts and Spotify. You can find me anywhere on the internet. It says Boxcub, something or other.
Ooh. Theater Cub 79 or most bear-related sites if you wish to find me are on Facebook, or you can find me as pup_Umbra on Twitter.
You can pretty much find me anywhere online. It's GaryBear73XXX. Except for you fucking bots on Growler. Knock that shit off. I'm real tired of it. Since you sold your ass to another company, it's gotten worse. And by the way, go to Netflix and watch the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance prequel series.
Oh, that's
fucking it's amazing.
Cool. I need to watch
Hadrian, where can people find you?
That was a lot of fucking information at once.
TheHadrianShow.com.
All right.
How are you shrinking, Hadrian?
Mine's pretty easy.
And with that, say goodnight, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Have a good one, y'all. Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah. Sorry for the abruptness, but I'm before we start getting more rambly and stuff, I kind of want some downtime and to myself and maybe eat something before I go to work. So
Cool. That's fine.
Plus, sometimes we do just need somebody to just crack the whip. You guys talk too much. I love you guys.
Sure, we talk too much.
Oh.
You okay, Gary?
Yeah, I'm fine. Why?
What? Just because he flipped me off?
Giving me shit about how we talk too much. Whatever.
Whatever. You do what you want.
All right, guys, I have to get ready for myself for a theater show I have to go to in an hour.
Yeah, see?
You guys are amazing. I had a very good time, as always.
Yeah, I'm going to stop streaming.